Welcome to Website Introduction. This video tutorial is roughly 20 to 25 minutes in length. It is a complement to the workbook that you're working through websites. My name is Coach Rodney, and I welcome you to the Marketing Mastery Program. So, what should we have done to date? So we've gone through our marketing process, our marketing purpose or marketing goal. We've set that up. You've gone through your ideal customers and had a look at ideal customers. You've looked at your top 5 to 7 core offerings. So that was that 80-20 rule. We looked at 80% of our revenue is brought in by 20% of our products and services, and we've established a list for that. You've looked at your unique selling proposition, your USP, what makes you different, what differentiates you from the others, and you've looked at your guarantee. We've taken a look at the investment that we're putting into marketing and what is that total sum and what do we want that to do for us. So in a nutshell, that was your marketing blueprint. There's module 1. In addition to that, you should also have done so far the campaign flow touch points. So this is the sales process that a customer would go through from start to finish with you, and it's the campaign flow. You selected one core offering from that list of core offerings that you were focusing on. You created specific problems to questions that might be asked or burning desires around that core offering. You wrote headlines and you created it using the ADIA formula, which was ADIA formula, that's attention, interest, desire, and action. And then from there we went on to creating the offer, and creating the offer had a call to action. We then did some content writing for the individual ad campaign, and that got us through creating at least one advertising campaign in Module 2. My hopes is that you now have 2 or 3 created, but we're working through the process and you're utilizing the marketing mastery to your fullest advantage. So the website introduction. Today we're going to be going through the importance of a website. We're going to be going through how to set up, or maybe you're revamping the website. We're going to talk about webmasters and web designers and what role they play. We're going to go through how search engines work so that you understand how to get your website working the best possible way it can. We're going to go through traditional and online marketing and what the heck does that have to do with my website? And we're going to create an ad campaign that drives to a particular landing page. So, if we should get started, it's time. It's not just developing a website. It's not just your website. It's so much more than that. A website is an automated salesperson that works for you 24/7. This is a way for you to have marketing and your business open 24/7. Having an automated salesperson continue on with the sales call means that it is simple, but it's not easy to do. But once it's set up, you reap the benefits over and over and over again. And this salesperson, once it's set up, you don't need to write a bi-weekly paycheck to. Your website is also a place to answer all of the questions that queries that get typed into the web or your prospects may be asking. So it answers all of those questions, and it's the most important part of your marketing strategy, bar none. We're going to bring some reasons why that is. So your website, it provides a landing page for your 80-20 rule, your 5 to 7 core offerings. That 80-20 rule, 80% of your revenue is coming in from 20% of your products. You know what they are. So now go back to the website and make sure that you have a landing page for each of those components. Your website needs to be indexed. So web searchers, when they're typing in their queries, can actually go directly to a specific page instead of having to go through the web home page. So we used to set it up so that everybody came in through this portal through the home page. That no longer is the case. We're going to go through a few examples of that. If your website is set up with current web standards, it's easy to navigate. It has quick load times. You understand that it's built for users, and it's also built secondary with search engines in mind. I mean, the idea here is to be found, so let's use the strategies that are already in place from us. So here's an example of a website. We typed in QuickBooks Canada, and you can see the website came up, and there are indexed pages. I'm trying to give you a look and feel of index pages. This is another client that has their website came up, and look at the index pages. So a client doesn't need to go into the home page. It can get right to the question or the query they typed in, or if they're heading to the individual clients and they know their domain in this particular case, they can get right to the page that they're looking for. The second component of what we went through was setting up, or maybe you're revamping your website. So we're going to talk about 5 fundamentals for setting up or revamping a website. So the first is we want to go back and look at our domain registration. Does a domain still reflect the business that you are operating today? And you should try to have one keyword within a domain. So if you're looking at your domain and you think you need to change it, here's the benefit. You can absolutely change your domain. You can keep the old domain and direct it to the new domain. And the reason you might want to do that is because you're not being found, or it's not in line with your business anymore. So I'm going to give you an example of a client that was having a big struggle getting to the homepage of Google, and that's where we wanted them to be. It was in a smaller market, so the chance of him getting there was really, really strong. But in the marketing coaching sessions that we were having, we needed to come up with a strategy to get him there, and all the strategies we had tried hadn't worked. So the strategy we tried is we set up 2 domains to compete against each other for a very short period of time. So we knew that optometrist was the most highest used keyword. We set up a mirrored site, Orangeville Optometrist, to go against Eyes Orangeville, and within a very short period of time we were able to move the Orangeville Optometrist to the first page of Google, where it has remained since. So there's a reason for changing the domain. Now the question that you may be asking is, why don't I set up a whole bunch of websites out there and put it out there and I mirror all those sites? And the reason you don't want to do that is Google, Yahoo, and Bing are going to catch you on it, and they're going to rank both sites 0. So in other words, if you think you can create multiple sites and cheat and get a lot of stuff out there, it's not going to work. We've already said websites are developed for users in mind. So if we try to use tactics at not benefiting the user, Google's going to definitely give it a poor ranking. Two of setting up a website, or maybe revamping, we're looking at the domain, and now we're looking at the web hosting. Web hosting, the web host provides you a spot on their server to upload all your videos, your images, your content, the web pages, all the stuff, and it's where the people access it from. So the web hosting is set up normally through your webmaster, and a web host is an important integral part of you understanding where your files are and how to access those. Web design and structure. This is where the layout and design for your website needs to have easy navigation. Web searching is all about speed and relevance of material and being able to return it back as quick as possible. Get people to the answers that they're looking for without them doing a lot of work. We talked about websites are built for users first, search engine second. You need to incorporate into your web design and structure all of your core products, again staying true to that 80-20 rule, and you need to incorporate call to actions in a sales cycle within it. So if you're getting people to a landing page of your core product, your landing page is structured so that you have your headline, your text, your content writing, your headline, your content writing, and you're chunking it out on the page, and every 3 to 4 chunks you want to add in a call to action, or ask for the sale, or offer a free report. We're so shy about utilizing the web as our sales tool, yet it is our sales tool. We're going to use traditional marketing, drive it to the website, and then if we're not continuing to sell that product or service, we're going to start to confuse clients of which we're trying to attract, or the prospects of which we're trying to convert. So this is an idea of changes that have happened within the website. So originally when we built websites, and maybe yours is like this, we built it with a classic website, which is used for laptops and desktops, and then you built a mobile website. Well, now what we're building is responsive style websites. So your webmaster has to have this progression and has to be updating your site. And if you don't have that, you need to have it. So here's how responsive style websites work. No longer do you have the mobile and classic, which is what I had mentioned, but now your website will recognize if it's a smartphone by the pixel's width, if it's a tablet by the pixel's width, or if it's a laptop or a desktop by the pixel's width, and it automatically adjusts. So that's why it's important to understand that a website is a sales tool. coming back to the content writing, this is where a lot of business owners struggle, and it's coming up with a way of how to do this with as easy a system as possible. The importance of a website is if you have content writing between 600 to 1200 words per landing page, you can start to put in your keywords, you can start to organize it so that it's done in that heading, paragraph, and the call to actions. But we need enough words, 6 to 1200 around every core offering, so that we've got a website that works. In content writing, you can have 1200 words, you can have scrolling pages with images. You can take as much as you need, but the minimum is 6 to 1200. So how do you get this? So my suggestion is that you record it. You can buy an inexpensive device that you can clip on a lapel mic. You can add on to your phone feature, so if you're doing telephone sales, you can start to record sales of the products and services that you're offering when you're talking to a client. Then what you can do is you can transcribe that sales meeting that you had. You can start to edit it and take out the ums and take out the words that don't need to be there. You can also organize it. So start with the whole thing and then start to chunk it out and get rid of things that you don't need. The questions that you're asked by the individual that you were selling at the time, it's important to reword those questions, because chances are other people will be wanting to ask those, and that'll bring people into the content writing. So after you've done the transcribing and the editing and you've got it restructured for the website work, because website reading is different than other reading. So in website reading, we've talked about the chunks, the headline, the paragraph, the headline, the paragraph, the call to action. So they're scanning through your web page and they're looking for components that are relevant to them. Well, you still need to do within that ADIA formula, which is attention, interest, desire, and action. So grab their attention in that content writing. And here's the best part of all. It's going to take time to put this material together, but it's the most important thing you could be doing next. Once you have your 5 to 7 content landing pages done, your core offering, and your home page, you can start to repurpose all this writing and use it in many different places. You can use it in booklets and flyers and campaigns, and you can repurpose it. Now, when we're going through this energy and effort, it's often said it takes so much energy and effort to market, and marketing should be boring. It should be systemized. It shouldn't be boring for your people looking to find you, but for you, it should only be a system. So if you're grabbing your content that you've recorded and you've got a whole bunch of content and some real nuggets there, you can use it for flyers and booklets, for the web page and for the campaign. So when you're moving forward from this step forward, you've got everything in place. Now you just need to go out and pull out the components. So the last part of our 5 fundamentals is web tools. And if content writing was important, or the most important, I'm going to say this is the second most important. So this is where you're setting up analytics, normally done by your webmaster, and analytics are set up on your home page, analytics are set up on your landing pages. So what you get from Google is you get a unique tracking ID number, and those are put into landing pages, and those are putting onto the home page. So imagine being able to find out where people are coming into your website, what page they're coming in, how many visitors came in, where they went to next. This is what web tools provide. So you can start to track and measure the website results. You're going to be receiving monthly reports, and this is where it's your responsibility to read them and understand them. It's the webmasters to provide them. But you don't want to get caught up in what I call analysis paralysis. In other words, you've got so much information coming at you that none of it's blurred, none of it makes any sense. So make sure the reports that are coming to you are simple and easy to read. So you need to understand what page they're coming in on, how many visitors are coming in, how long they stay on the website, what page they went to next. Those are some really core ingredients to get you started. So selecting a webmaster or working with the existing webmaster that you have. Webmasters make your site easy to browse. Webmasters make sure that your pages have internal links. In other words, your home page leads to your other 5 to 7 pages, and then your other core offering pages, your landing pages, lead to another page. And so you want to make sure that you have internal links. They prepare a sitemap. A sitemap is like having a good organized file cabinet. It's where can you find the material, what file is it in this case, what page is it on. So sitemaps are a critical part of the webmaster's job. They ensure that each page has unique content. In other words, is the content relevant to what the page is about? They ensure that there's keywords in place that again tie into that unique content. We're going to see both of those components come up shortly. So what a web designer does, that's the look and feel. That's the graphic parts of it. That's where they bring your business logo in, your identity in, hopefully your tagline in. And that's what they're there. They're to ensure that the website has a look and feel to it that is good for your target market. So how do search engines work? And why do we need to know this? Well, if you want to get to first page of Google, you have to understand how it is that they find your information. And they do that by crawling the website first. So first thing they do is they crawl the web world, and they look for all the websites that has unique content or information about a certain query that's being typed in a lot. Then what they do is they index all that into a database, and they correlate it using their formulas to match a website to a user when they're typing in a keyword phrase or a query, a question into the search engine. Then what they'll do is they'll rank your website. So once they've crawled it, once they've indexed it, they're then going to rank it. And they're going to rank it based on a whole bunch of criteria. And your webmaster knows all of that criteria. So in conjunction, it's a lot of components working together. So let's go through the crawling checklist. So to simplify this, every landing page should have one internal link. The home page will have multiple internal links getting to that next landing page or that next core offering, your product or service, and each product or service leads to another product or service. Every landing page needs to have a sitemap, and you need to submit the sitemap to the search engines so that it's going to be easy for them to search through the website and find out what the information is about. Every landing page has to have a URL, which is a unique resource locator structure. So that's yourdomain.com / whatever it is. That's your indexing. That's your file cabinet. If you have a website that's not, the chance of you coming up on Google is slim. If you have a website that's really well organized and structured but has poor content and images, that you can fix. So we also need to make sure that the page loading time is quick for the clients. Web searchers are utilizing this resource as a fast tool. So slow page loading times will be where you'll see people go onto a page and they'll get off really quickly because they don't have the patience for the page to load. So the webmaster wants to make sure all that you've got a website that works and that it's quick and responsive. So let's go through an indexing checklist. So this is the landing pages and the home page, and these are the components of how, when they go out and crawl through sites, how they recognize what the information is about. So the first you want to have is a good title page. You want to have a keyword in there. The title page, underneath that becomes what's called a meta description. So this is like your elevator speech underneath it. So here's what the page is about, and here's what's within this page and all the stuff that the content's about. They also scroll through your site and look for those headings. So do you remember that we talked about heading, paragraph? Now you can see why having headings is important. So not only do web searchers scan through your site with an eye and sort of pick up the components they like, but when Google, Yahoo, and Bing go through your site in seconds, they're also reading through that, and they're using that as part of their indexing. So the last component that they're looking for in indexing a website is to have content that's relevant. If your page title and meta tag and headers and content is all askewed, it's going to confuse them and you're not going to get ranked well. You're not even going to get found. Heck, if it's confusing the search engines, it's confusing the users, your site's not even going to be working well. So hopefully that component is a big plus. So how does traditional advertising tie into all of this with your online marketing? Well, all your traditional advertising needs to drive clients to your website, but that's not where it begins. It needs to drive clients to your website with a call to action with a specific address. We went through this in the workbook, but you can track and measure most of your traditional advertising. And it's important that you do this because we're talking about putting an investment into it. And the Marketing Mastery formula is to get you to create an unlimited marketing budget. And if you track and measure the results, it's easy to read the numbers. So there's a couple of ways to test and measure, or to measure the results of how the marketing is working. So let's talk about the subdomain first. In your workbook, we go through the Orangeville Banner being a local magazine. You can code a subdomain being ob.yourdomain.com. So now when a client reads a call to action in a newspaper ad, you don't have a lot of room for long and scrolling, but you want to send them somewhere to give them more information. They can type in ob.yourdomain.com and you'll know how many people are coming in through reading that ad. If you set it up in the Orangeville Banner, you can use that subdomain for the whole year. So every time you run an ad, you use that same domain. You can also use an image link. So the example we use in the workbook for this is if you ran a radio ad. You can use an image link on your home page or on another landing page if that's where you're driving them to, but that link can have a unique ID number to it, and you can find out how many people clicked on that and where they went to next. So talk about using traditional marketing in today's internet marketing world. And of course, you can use a URL, which is your unique resource locator. That's yourdomain.com / a specific page. Now that backslash could be a fairly long, so people don't need to see that backslash. They can just see your domain and you can actually direct them to a specific page. So traditional marketing works as long as we tie in the online marketing. So the last component of today's module is how your ad campaign needs to be driven to a landing page. So all campaigns that you do, all individual campaigns, and you should have, 3 to 4, maybe as many as 10 campaigns running at a time, which is generating leads. All of them should drive to a landing page. So set up your content writing for your core offerings first, because chances are ads are driven around those core offerings. And make sure that you have a landing page on your website. So we've talked about how to set those landing pages so that there's content, how to get the content, and how to lay it out. We want to make sure that the landing page, so once we take them from your ad to the landing page, that your landing page is set up so that it is a sales page. So headline, paragraph, I know I'm repeating this. Call to action or ask for the sale. Again, headline, paragraph, people are scrolling through and reading what they need to read. And we need to ask people more than once for the sale. Your website is your 24/7 sales representative that you pay to get set up. It is fluid, you do have to make changes, but it's the most inexpensive sales rep you'll ever have hired. You need to use the web tools to track, measure campaigns, and find out what's working and what's not. We've talked before that 50% of your marketing is not working. The question you need to ask yourself is, what 50% is it? And when you can start to focus in on that, you'll be able to create an unlimited marketing budget for your business. So my name is Coach Rodney. I've enjoyed putting this little segment together. Create a great day.